Virtual beings and the evolution of women's representation in media. The representation of women in mass media has long been a subject of scrutiny and criticism. From print advertisements to films and television shows, the portrayal of women has often been characterized by stereotypes, objectification, and a narrow definition of beauty and worth. As technology advances, a new form of media is emerging that has the potential to either exacerbate or alleviate these issues: virtual beings and digital humans. Virtual beings, including digital influencers, AI-powered characters, and lifelike avatars, represent a growing field at the intersection of artificial intelligence, computer graphics, and social media. These digital entities are increasingly prevalent in entertainment, marketing, and social platforms, interacting with users in ways that blur the lines between human and artificial intelligence. The emergence of virtual beings presents both challenges and opportunities in addressing the exploitation of women in media. On one hand, there is a risk that these digital creations could perpetuate and even amplify existing problems of stereotypical representation and objectification. On the other hand, virtual beings offer a unique opportunity to reshape narratives, challenge traditional beauty standards, and provide more diverse and empowering representations of women. The portrayal of women in media has evolved significantly over the past century, yet persistent issues remain. In the early 20th century, women in media were often depicted in domestic roles or as objects of male desire. The mid-20th century saw the rise of the ideal housewife image, particularly in advertising. The women's movement of the 1960s and 1970s brought some changes, with more diverse representations of women in professional roles. However, these gains were often accompanied by new forms of objectification, particularly in the hypersexualized imagery of music videos and fashion advertising in the 1980s and 1990s. Despite progress, the exploitation of women in media continues to be a significant issue. In advertising, women are frequently sexualized or relegated to stereotypical roles. The film industry often fails the Bechdel test, indicating a lack of meaningful representation of women. Music videos and social media influencers often promote unrealistic beauty standards. News media tends to focus more on the appearance of female public figures than their male counterparts. These issues persist across various cultures, though they may manifest differently based on local norms and values. Virtual beings encompass a range of digital entities designed to interact with humans in increasingly sophisticated ways. These include digital influencers, AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants, lifelike avatars, and deepfake technology. Currently, virtual beings are used in entertainment, marketing, customer service, and education. The potential future applications are vast, including more immersive entertainment experiences, personalized AI companions, and virtual representatives for individuals in digital spaces. The emergence of virtual beings has the potential to perpetuate and even exacerbate existing issues in the representation of women in media. One of the primary concerns is the continuation of stereotypical representations. Just as traditional media often portrays women in limited roles, virtual beings may be designed to embody these same restrictive stereotypes. For instance, female digital influencers are frequently created with unrealistic body proportions and flawless features, reinforcing narrow beauty standards that have long been criticized in traditional media. The issue of hypersexualization, prevalent in various forms of media, finds a new canvas in the realm of virtual beings. The ability to create idealized, digital humans without the constraints of physical reality may lead to an increase in sexualized female virtual beings. This trend is already visible in some digital influencers and virtual models, whose perfectly curated images often emphasize physical attractiveness over other qualities. The lack of diversity in the creation of virtual beings is another significant concern. If the teams responsible for developing these digital entities lack diversity themselves, it could result in a limited range of representations. This issue extends beyond just physical appearance to include personality traits, interests, and roles portrayed by female virtual beings. The risk is that instead of reflecting the full spectrum of human diversity, virtual beings might reinforce a homogenized, often Western-centric view of women. Artificial intelligence and algorithmic bias play a crucial role in the development of virtual beings, particularly in the case of AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants. If these systems are trained on datasets that contain gender biases, they may perpetuate these biases in their interactions. For example, a virtual assistant might be programmed to respond in a stereotypically feminine way, reinforcing gender norms rather than challenging them. While virtual beings may perpetuate existing issues, they also present new challenges unique to this emerging technology. One of the most pressing concerns is the rise of deepfakes and non-consensual digital representations. This technology allows for the creation of highly realistic video or audio content of real people, often without their consent. When applied to women, this raises serious ethical concerns about privacy, consent, and the potential for new forms of digital harassment or exploitation. The blurring of lines between reality and digital constructs presents another challenge. As virtual beings become more sophisticated and integrated into daily life, there's a risk that they could influence perceptions of real women. If users become accustomed to interacting with idealized virtual women, it might affect their expectations and treatment of real women in both digital and physical spaces. Virtual beings also have the potential for increased emotional manipulation. Unlike traditional media, which maintains a clear separation between the viewer and the content, virtual beings can engage in personalized, seemingly reciprocal interactions. This could lead to the formation of parasocial relationships, where users develop one-sided emotional attachments to virtual entities. If these virtual beings embody problematic representations of women, it could reinforce harmful attitudes on a more personal, emotional level. The rise of virtual beings also introduces new legal and ethical considerations. Questions arise about the ownership and rights of virtual beings, especially those modeled after real people. There are also concerns about transparency, with calls for clear disclosure when users are interacting with an AI rather than a human. These issues become particularly complex when considering the representation of women, as they intersect with existing laws and ethical guidelines surrounding portrayal and consent. The psychological impact of virtual beings on individuals and society at large is a crucial area of consideration. Similar to traditional media, interactions with female virtual beings could affect users' self-esteem and body image. If these digital entities predominantly represent unattainable standards of beauty, it could exacerbate existing issues of poor body image and low self-esteem, particularly among young women and girls. The influence of virtual beings on gender role perceptions is another important factor. As these digital entities become more prevalent in various aspects of life, from entertainment to customer service, they have the potential to shape societal views on gender roles. If female virtual beings are consistently portrayed in stereotypical or limited roles, it could reinforce outdated gender norms and expectations. The impact on interpersonal relationships is an emerging area of concern. As people spend more time interacting with virtual beings, it could affect their expectations and behaviors in relationships with real people. There's a risk that unrealistic portrayals of women through virtual beings could lead to dissatisfaction or unrealistic expectations in real-world relationships. The long-term societal consequences of widespread interaction with virtual beings are still largely unknown. However, it's possible that they could contribute to a shift in social norms and values related to gender. This could manifest in various ways, from changes in communication styles to evolving standards of beauty and behavior. Despite these challenges, virtual beings also present opportunities for positive change in the representation of women in media. One of the most significant potentials lies in creating diverse and empowering representations. Unlike human actors or models, virtual beings can be designed to represent a wide range of body types, ethnicities, ages, and abilities. This flexibility allows for the creation of female virtual beings that challenge traditional beauty standards and provide more inclusive representations. Virtual beings can also be powerful tools for education and awareness. They can be programmed to deliver messages about gender equality, challenge stereotypes, and provide information about women's issues in engaging and interactive ways. For example, a virtual assistant could be designed to respond to sexist language with educational information, helping to raise awareness about gender bias in everyday interactions. The field of virtual beings offers a unique opportunity to challenge traditional beauty standards. By creating female virtual entities that don't conform to conventional ideals of beauty, developers can help normalize a more diverse range of appearances. This could have a positive impact on body image and self-esteem, particularly for young users who are heavily influenced by media representations. Virtual beings also have the potential to provide platforms for underrepresented voices. Digital influencers and AI-powered characters can be created to represent perspectives and experiences that are often marginalized in traditional media. This could lead to more nuanced and authentic portrayals of women from diverse backgrounds. The role of developers and the tech industry is crucial in shaping the future of virtual beings and their impact on women's representation. The importance of diverse development teams cannot be overstated. When teams include people from various backgrounds, genders, and experiences, they are more likely to create virtual beings that represent a wide range of women authentically. Implementing ethical guidelines in the creation of virtual beings is another key responsibility for the industry. These guidelines should address issues such as body diversity, avoidance of stereotypes, and the promotion of positive gender representations. Companies should also consider the potential impacts of their virtual beings on users and society at large. The marketing and application of virtual beings also require careful consideration. Companies should be mindful of how they position and use female virtual beings in their campaigns and interactions with users. This includes avoiding sexualization and ensuring that virtual beings are not used in ways that could perpetuate harmful stereotypes or attitudes towards women. Collaboration between the tech industry, researchers, and ethicists is essential for addressing the complex issues surrounding virtual beings and gender representation. This interdisciplinary approach can help ensure that the development of virtual beings is guided by a comprehensive understanding of the potential social and psychological impacts. Policy and regulation will play a significant role in shaping the landscape of virtual beings and their impact on women's representation. The current legal framework surrounding virtual beings is still evolving, with many questions yet to be addressed. Issues such as the rights of virtual beings, the responsibility for their actions, and the protection of individuals from misuse of their likeness in virtual form are all areas that require careful legal consideration. Proposed regulations should aim to balance innovation with protection against exploitation. This might include requirements for transparency in AI interactions, guidelines for the ethical creation and use of virtual beings, and protections against the non-consensual use of individuals' likenesses in virtual form. Given the global nature of digital technology, international cooperation in regulating virtual beings will be crucial to ensure consistent standards and protections across different jurisdictions. As the field of virtual beings continues to evolve, several areas require further research. Long-term studies on the psychological effects of interaction with virtual beings are needed to understand their impact on users' perceptions of gender, body image, and social norms. Research into evolving perceptions of gender in a world with virtual beings could provide valuable insights into how these digital entities might shape societal attitudes over time. The rapid pace of technological advancement in this field also necessitates ongoing research into the implications of new developments. As virtual beings become more sophisticated and potentially indistinguishable from humans, the ethical and social questions will become increasingly complex. Cross-cultural studies on the impact of virtual beings will also be crucial, as different societies may respond to and be influenced by these digital entities in varying ways. In conclusion, the rise of virtual beings presents both significant challenges and unique opportunities in addressing the exploitation of women in media. While there is a risk that these digital entities could perpetuate and even amplify existing issues of stereotypical representation and objectification, they also offer the potential to reshape narratives, challenge traditional beauty standards, and provide more diverse and empowering representations of women. The key to realizing the positive potential of virtual beings lies in proactive measures and thoughtful development. This includes fostering diverse development teams, implementing strong ethical guidelines, and creating regulations that protect against exploitation while allowing for innovation. It also requires ongoing research to understand the long-term impacts of these digital entities on individuals and society. As we move forward into an increasingly digital future, it is crucial that we approach the development and use of virtual beings with a keen awareness of their potential impact on gender representation and equality. By doing so, we can work towards a future where virtual beings contribute to a more inclusive, diverse, and empowering media landscape for women. The challenge now lies with developers, policymakers, researchers, and consumers to actively engage with these issues and shape the future of virtual beings in a way that promotes positive representations of women. This is not just a technological challenge, but a social and ethical one that requires the collaboration of diverse stakeholders. As virtual beings become an increasingly integral part of our digital landscape, the decisions we make now will have far-reaching implications for gender representation and equality in the years to come.